Hey guys, welcome to the newest episode of the Poker Vlog. Today I'm going to take you through a live cash game poker session I played in Springfield, Missouri. I played one of the biggest pots of my entire life, and I'm going to give you guys a little glimpse into the vacation it allowed me to take here at the end of the episode. Don't forget to check below and see if you were subscribed. We're getting really close to the 800 subscriber mark, so if you could help me make it to that next milestone, I would really appreciate it. One big announcement is that we are partnering with StumpTheSpread.com. Stump the Spread is a site where they offer daily advice on how to bet on the big sporting events of the day. They cover Major League Baseball, the NBA with the playoffs starting on Friday. I know they cover the NHL, and also they have predictions for the UFC card that takes place this weekend. If you guys are interested in this, there's a link down in the description. Head over there and check out everything they have to offer. Let's go ahead and hop into this video and go over some hands. Okay, so the first hand we're going to go over, I've got 10-7 suited in the big blind. We're playing six-handed, and I'm starting this hand off with about 320. I get the opportunity to check, so a hand like this, I'm definitely just going to see a flop, see what happens. Flop comes down 10 Jack 4 with one heart, so not a terrible flop for us. We've got second pair and a backdoor flush draw. I go ahead and lead out for $6 in this limped pot, and both the other players that are in the pot with me make the call. Turn comes down, 3 of hearts. Great card for us. Now we've got a flush draw. Feeling really good about things. Flush draw on second pair, looking good. I go ahead and lead out for 15, and only the button calls this time. The river comes down, the 6 of clubs. I go ahead and check, and the button bets out 30. Interesting spot. I don't think they would play a jack this way very often. I'm not sure what they would be playing this way. So I go ahead and make the call, hoping to sniff out a bluff, and sure enough, I'm right. He mucks his cards and said that he had spades, so he flopped a flush draw and didn't get there. So we're off to a good start, and we'll definitely take that one. Not too much later, I look down at 8-5 of diamonds from the button. I'm starting this hand off with about 350, and I think we're still playing 6 or 7 handed. I go ahead and limp from the button. Don't like this, huge mistake. Need to work on my pre-flop ranges. Small blind limps, and the big blind checks their options. So we're off to see a flop very cheaply. Flop comes down 6-5 deuce with 2 clubs. So decent flop for us. We flop middle pair. I guess it's okay. I don't know. Small blind bets 10. I think with middle pair here and some straight draw possibilities, I can continue, and I make the call. Turn is a fantastic one for us. It's a 5 of spades. So we have 3 of a kind now, feeling good. Our opponent bets 25, and we just make the call. I think this is a mistake here. I think when I hit trips, I should be raising the price. Let's go ahead and make some money. So once again, I'm going for too little value when I have a value hand. River comes down the 9 of clubs. So it brings in the front door flush draw, which I obviously hate. Both of us check it down. So apparently my opponent hated it too. And when he turns over his hand, it's very obvious why he did. He shows us 4-3 for a flop straight. So good thing that club rolled off, and good thing being results oriented that we didn't go for the value this time, because we would have gotten in a really bad spot. So we lose that one, but we didn't lose as much as we could have, so we'll take that too. Next hand we're going to look at, I've got ace-5 suited from the big blind, starting the hand off with about 300. Hijack opens at 10, button and small blind calls, and so do I. Think this is a mistake. I think against a hijack open, I should go ahead and 3-bet this a decent amount of time, but I think calling's okay too. I do think you need to be mixing in some 3-bets with ace-5 suited so that I can balance when I'm 3-betting with ace-king or any other hand that I would normally 3-bet with. Flop comes down, king, jack, 10, 2 hearts, 1 spade, and the action checks through. So action checks through on a lot of flops like this, it seems like, in this game. I'm not really sure what the cause is, but I find it interesting. The turn comes down the 9 of diamonds, a blank for us, but not a blank for this board. It checks to me. I bet 15, I guess trying to steal it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing betting here. The hijack and the small blind both make the call, so it doesn't work against either opponent. 3 ways here in a multi-way pot. You don't want to be betting like this with no equity or very little equity. Like obviously with the queen, I hit the nuts, but so is somebody else. So it's just not a good spot, and you need to be betting. You need to be bluffing tighter in multi-way pots. River is the 5 of clubs, so now I've got a pair. Hooray! Checks to me. I bet 35 this time, and both players fold. So my terrible play, my terrible bluff work out, and I take this one down. Very weird hand. Not happy with how I played it. I have no idea what my opponents could have had or could have been drawing to. I guess drawing to some sort of straights or some sort of flushes or something that they would fold to my river bet here. But we take it down. So, okay. So a little while later, I look down at 9-8 of diamonds from the button, starting the hand out with about 400. I open to 10 over 2 limpers. I think this is okay. I'd rather open to 15 though. I think I'm maybe telegraphing my hand strength by betting smaller amounts. So what a nightmare. That's like the dumbest thing you could possibly do. A very easy mistake to fix. So we're going to be fixing that in the future. Only the middle position limper makes the call. So we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes down 5-5-3 with 2 spades and 1 diamond. So we did get 1 diamond, but not exactly the flop we were looking for. I bet 20, and my opponent makes the call. Turn comes down 2 spades, so we're keeping the cards super low again. He checks. I bet 35, and he shoves all in for like 250. So obviously we don't have a decision here at all. We just insta-fold. Feel like I played the hand kind of weirdly. I don't think I necessarily need a continuation bet on that flop, and I don't really think I need to continue betting on that turn either. So very badly played hand. Need to learn when to barrel and when to not barrel. So after a little while, I look down at ace-king offsuit from the hijack. I'm starting this hand with about 300. Under the gun +1 makes it 10, and 5 players make the call. So time to load up a big 3-bet. I make it $65, and only the button calls. He's a very friendly player who's very good for the game, because he's a nice guy, great to have in there, but not so good for the game that you want to be tangling with him in a lot of pots. But it seems like me and this guy are always playing hands. So flop comes down, a terrible one for my range and a great one for his range. Flop is 8-7-5. I bet 65, dumbly, and he makes the call. Flop like this with ace-king, time to check back and evaluate. Anyway, turn comes down, 2 of clubs, so another blank. I bet 65, and he calls again. So what am I doing here? I have no idea. River comes down, the 10 of hearts. I check. My opponent shoves all in. I fold, and he shows us Jack-5 suited for very interesting played hand. I don't know if I don't know if he should be calling my 3-bets with Jack-5 suited, but if he can outplay me this bad, or if I'm going to play hands this badly, oh well. And he had me beat, so well played. So the very next hand, after blasting off a large percentage of my stack with ace-king offsuit, I look down at 2 black kings from the cutoff. I'm starting this hand with about 120 after that last disaster. So there's some limpers. I make it 15 this time. See what I mean about telegraphing my hand strength? I made it 10 with 8-9 suited and 15 with pocket kings, so yikes. The small blind calls and the big blind calls. The flop comes down, a interesting one, but a good one for us nonetheless. 5-3-2 with 2 diamonds. Action checks to me. I make it 50, leaving myself 50 behind. I don't know how I feel about this. I was obviously at a very awkward stack depth, but I guess I'm okay with it. Like, I'm obviously not folding to anything. Small blind calls and the big blind shoves. So the small blind calling is great. I got some extra money in there. The big blind shoving obviously doesn't make me feel super good, but I'm not getting away from this now for very clear reasons. So I make the call, and I'm all in, and the small blind folds. So that's great. We got some free money in there from the small blind. Turn comes down, maybe the worst card in the deck for us, second worst card in the deck for us, I'm not sure. The turn is the ace of spades, so I'm instantly thinking, well, he's likely got a straight or had something with an ace. River is the queen of spades. I flip over my hand, and somehow I'm good. I don't get shown. I should have probably tried to get to see the opponent's cards. I don't get to see them, but we take this one down, and we're feeling great. We're back up to starting stack, or a little bit above starting stack, so thank God the kings held up somehow on that like pretty scary turn card. So shortly after that, I look down at Jack-10 suited in the hijack. I open up to 15, so maybe we're figuring out these bet sizing issues, and I get 2 callers. Flop comes down, ace of hearts, queen, jack, rainbow. So bottom pair, gut shot to the nuts, backdoor flush draw. I don't know how I should really feel about this hand. I don't think that I should be c-betting on this flop, but sure enough I do for 20 bucks after it checks to me. The big blind shoves all in, so not too much of a decision here. We just snap fold and we're on to the next one. So I gotta learn to c-bet in a more strategically intelligent way, I think. So a bit later, we look down at pocket queens from the small blind, starting this hand out with about 280. There are several limpers. The cutoff makes it 10. I make it 35, and under the gun plus one is the only caller. So we got a limp caller here in a pot where we had pocket queens. Flop comes down 6-6-2, so clearly he's gonna have more sixes than me in his range, but I think we're fine with that since we've got pocket queens in this spot. He checks, I bet 35, and he makes the call. So, okay, so far, seems pretty standard. Turn comes down, 9 of clubs. He checks, I bet 55, and he makes the call again. So we're building a pretty nice sized pot here. We've got a massive overpair, so things are looking fantastic. River comes down, the jack of spades. He immediately shoves all in for about 100, somewhere between 100 and 150, and I don't have to think about it too long before making the call. And I get shown ace jack offsuit, so we're good. We're scooping up this big pot. I'm very excited. Things are heading our way. That was a big pot. Great to hold up there. I'm glad he paired his jack on the river and not his ace. So a little while later, I look down at ace queen of spades from the hijack. I'm starting this hand off with about 650 now. The action limps to me. I make it 15, so maybe we're fixing the bet sizing issues on our own. I'm not sure. And get 3 callers. So that's a lot of callers, not super happy. Two callers or less would be preferred. Flop comes down, ace high with 2 diamonds, so great to flop top pair. I bet 35, and the cutoff, the self-avowed tightest player in the game by far, he's very proud of how tight he plays, for sure, makes it 70. So he min clicks it back to me. Instantly, I've got alarm bells going off, but I'm pretty sure I can't fold this hand yet. I was not happy about this though. I thought about folding. I definitely tanked for a little bit. Just thought about giving it up. But there's no way I can give this hand up this fast already. I don't think against anyone. Turn comes down to 7. I check this time. He bets 60. I make the call again. So not very happy about putting money in on 2 streets when I'm sure that I'm behind. There's no way I'm ahead here. There's no way he's gonna be betting less than 2 pair. If you guys knew this player, I know this sounds super nitty that I'm saying this, but this guy is the biggest, he's the tightest player in the game for sure. Tightest player, one of the tighter players that I've played with maybe in my life. River comes down the 2 of diamonds. We both check. So kind of odd. I'm praying that he could have I have no idea. Maybe he has ace queen. It's the word. I can't even imagine him having ace queen here, guys. There's no way. And sure enough, he shows us ace king offsuit. So he had us outkicked, and we should have followed our instincts and folded that flop. Obviously, that's not the GTO play to flop top pair and fold like that when you face that raise. But against this player, I think I can make an exploitative fold here for sure. So this hand is one of the biggest pots that I've played in my entire life and in this game in general. I look down at ace king of diamonds from the hijack. I'm starting this hand off with about 515. Things are going to get crazy. I opened a 15 from the hijack, so it either gets limped or folded to me. I'm sure there were limps. There had to have been limps. There are always limps. I get 5 callers. So going insanely multi-way to a flop. Flop is one of the best flops I've seen in my entire life. Flop comes down queen jack 10 rainbow with 1 diamond. So I flop the stone cold nuts. I am pumped, trying to figure out how I'm going to make as much money as possible from this. Well, it turns out I'm not going to have to make very many decisions. Under the gun player checks. Under the gun plus 1 player shoves all in for 180. So instantly I'm like, this is amazing. Things are going to get better. Middle position calls, leaving themselves 300 or so behind. Then the action folds to me. Of course, with the nuts here, I re-shove all in for about 500 total. She thinks about it for a while and makes the call. So we know we've got the best possible hand. I'm thinking maybe somebody else has ace king. I'm thinking maybe somebody could have a set here. There could be some weird 2 pairs, like the under the gun plus 1 player could have 2 pair. So turn comes down the 9 of clubs. So beautiful, we still have the nuts. Feeling great. The river is the queen of diamonds. So pairs the board. A lot of the 2 pair combinations now have a boat. I am distraught. I don't think there's any way that I'm going to win this whole thing. I flip my hand over, and they both had the lower end of the straight. Cannot believe this. Super pumped. Biggest pot I've won maybe ever. $1,200+ pot. We take that one down. We are feeling fantastic. We play for a little while longer. Nothing too crazy happens. No hands cool enough to report. So we're going to go ahead and rack these up and get out of here. So feeling fantastic. Super pumped. Crazy hand. Since we got out of there with another big winning session, it's time for a much needed getaway. We took off to one of our favorite drivable beach destinations, Tybee Island, Georgia. We hit up the beach every day, got lots of sun, and somehow avoiding getting sunburnt. We found and reported a sea turtle nest, and sometime this month, a bunch of those little guys are going to get shepherded into the Gulf of Mexico after they hatch. We also hit up a dolphin cruise and saw a bunch of the over 200 bottlenose dolphins that call Tybee Island home. It was a great time, and we are already booked to go back in January. I highly recommend getting some time on the beach anytime you get the chance. Just being close to the ocean always helps my peace of mind. That's all for this episode of the Poker Vlog. We'll be back next week with another video, so don't forget to subscribe by hitting the red button down below and clicking the bell icon right next to it. That way you'll get a notification when I post a new video and won't miss out. We're really close to 800 subscribers, so help me make it to that next milestone. See everybody next time. See everybody next week. I'm out of here.